أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الله أكبر الله أكبر. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. أشهد أن أمير المؤمنين وإمام المتقين عليا حجة الله. أشهد أن أمير المؤمنين وإمام المتقين عليا ولي الله. حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح حي على خير العمل حي على خير العمل. قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة. الله أكبر الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله. أستغفر الله ربي من كل ذنب وأتوب إليه. يا محسن قد أتاك المسيء فتجاوز عن قلبه ما عندي بجميل ما عندك يا كريم. الله أكبر الله أكبر. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إذا جاء نصر الله والفتح ورأيت الناس يدخلون في دين الله أفواجا فسبح بحمد ربك واستغفره إنه كان توابا. الله أكبر. سبحان ربي العظيم وبحمد ربي صل على محمد وآل محمد. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمد ربي صل على محمد وآل محمد. الله أكبر. أستغفر الله ربي وأتوب إليه. الله أكبر. سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمد ربي صل على محمد وآل محمد. الله أكبر. بحول الله وقوته أقوم وأقعد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. كذلك الله ربنا. الله أكبر. اللهم ربنا اغفر لي ولوالدي وللمؤمنين يوم يقوم الحساب. رب ارحمهما كما ربياني صغيرا واجزهما بالإحسان إحسانا وبالسيئات عفوا وغفرانا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. الله أكبر. سبحان ربي العظيم وبحمد ربي صل على محمد وآل محمد. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمد ربي صل على محمد وآل محمد. الله أكبر. أستغفر الله ربي وأتوب إليه. الله أكبر. سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمد ربي صل على محمد وآل محمد. الله أكبر. الحمد لله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وتقبل شفاعته وارفع درجته بحول الله وقوته أقوم وأقعد. الله أكبر. سبحان ربي العظيم وبحمد ربي صل على محمد وآل محمد. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمد ربي صل على محمد وآل محمد. الله أكبر. أستغفر الله ربي وأتوب إليه. الله أكبر. سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمد ربي صل على محمد وآل محمد. يا ولي العافية نسألك العافية عافية الدين والدنيا والآخرة بجاه محمد وإترته الطاهرة. يا رب الحجة أسألك الحجة. الله أكبر. بسم الله وبالله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. السلام عليك أيها النبي ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام علينا وعلى عباد الله الصالحين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
Please recite Surah Fatiha for Fazal, Asghar Ali Virani, Muhammad Raza Laka, and Suhail Hussain Ali Bhai, and all the Marhumins. Al-Fatiha.
استغفر الله الذي لا إله إلا هو الحي القيوم الرحمن الرحيم ذو الجلال والإكرام وأتوب إليك. استغفر الله الذي لا إله إلا هو الحي القيوم الرحمن الرحيم ذو الجلال والإكرام وأتوب إليك. استغفر الله الذي لا إله إلا هو الحي القيوم الرحمن الرحيم ذو الجلال والإكرام وأتوب إليك. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. يا من أرجوه لكل خير وآمن سكته إن كل شر. يا من يؤتي الكثير بالخليل. يا من يؤتي من سهله. يا من يؤتي من لم يسأله ومن لم يعرف تهننا منه ورحمة. أعطني بمسألتي إياك جميع خير الدنيا وجميع خير الآخرة، واصرف عني بمسألتي إياك جميع شر الدنيا وشر الآخرة، فإنه غير منكوس ما أعطي، وزدني من فضلك يا كريم يا ذا الجلال والإكرام، يا ذا النعماء والجود، يا ذا المن والدول، حرم شيبتي على النار بحق محمد وآله الأطهار.
حي على الفلاح، حي على الفلاح، حي على خير العمل، حي على خير العمل، قد قامت الصلاة، قد قامت الصلاة، الله أكبر الله أكبر، لا إله إلا الله، أستغفر الله ربي من كل ذنب وأتوب إليه يا محسن. الله أكبر، الله أكبر. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم، الحمد لله رب العالمين، الرحمن الرحيم، مالك يوم الدين، إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين، اهدنا الصراط المستقيم، صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم، إنا أعطيناك الكوثر فصل لربك وانحر إن شانئك هو الأبتر. الله أكبر. سبحان ربي العظيم وبحمد ربي صل على محمد وآل محمد. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمد ربي صل على محمد وآل محمد. الله أكبر. أستغفر الله ربي وأتوب إليه. الله أكبر. سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمد ربي صل على محمد وآل محمد. الله أكبر. بحول الله وقوته أقوم وأقعد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إنا أنزلناه في ليلة القدر وما أدراك ما ليلة القدر. ليلة القدر خير من 1000 شهر. تنزل الملائكة والروح فيها بإذن ربهم من كل أمر. سلام هي حتى مطلع الفجر. الله أكبر. اللهم ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. اللهم اغفر للمؤمنين والمؤمنات المسلمين والمسلمات الأحياء منهم والأموات. تابع بيننا وبينهم بالخيرات إنك مجيب الدعوات إنك قاضي الحاجات إنك على كل شيء قدير. الله أكبر. سبحان ربي العظيم وبحمد ربي صل على محمد وآل محمد. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمد ربي صل على محمد وآل محمد. الله أكبر. أستغفر الله ربي وأتوب إليه. الله أكبر. سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمد ربي صل على محمد وآل محمد. الله أكبر. الحمد لله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وتقبل شفاعته وارفع درجته. بحول الله وقوته أقوم وأقعد. الله أكبر. سبحان ربي العظيم وبحمد ربي صل على محمد وآل محمد. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمد ربي صل على محمد وآل محمد. الله أكبر. أستغفر الله ربي وأتوب إليه. الله أكبر. سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمد ربي صل على محمد وآل محمد. الله أكبر. بحول الله وقوته أقوم وأقعد. الله أكبر. سبحان ربي العظيم وبحمد ربي صل على محمد وآل محمد. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمد ربي صل على محمد وآل محمد. الله أكبر. أستغفر الله ربي وأتوب إليه. الله أكبر. سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمد ربي صل على محمد وآل محمد. يا ولي العافية نسألك العافية، عافية الدين والدنيا والآخرة، بجاه محمد وإترته الطاهرة. يا رب الحجة أسألك الحجة. الله أكبر. بسم الله وبالله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. السلام عليك أيها النبي ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام علينا وعلى عباد الله الصالحين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد
وآل محمد وعجل فرج. محمد وآل محمد صلوات.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحیم. بحق محمد وآل محمد. اپنا مجھے بھائیو بہنوں بچاؤ بیمار ہوئے اپنے دعا کرے کہ اللہ کا بدائے نے شفا دے، بدائنی تکلیفوں دور تھائے. اپنا عالمو مرجع مومنین مومنات دنیا میں جہاں بھی ہوئے یا اللہ تو اللہ کا حفظ و امان میں رکھ، ہماری بڑی حاجتوں پوری کر، ہمارا علم وداڑو کر. ایوی دعا ساتھے اپنے بدہ ساتھے 5 پھیرے اما یجیب پڑھیے. اعوذ باللہ من الشیطان الرجیم. بسم اللہ الرحمن الرحیم. امن یجیب المضطر اذا دعا أمن يجيب المضطر إذا دعا ويكشف السوء. 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 سورة فاتحة شفاء المرضى ودفع البلاء.
أستغفر الله الذي لا إله إلا هو الحي القيوم الرحمن الرحيم ذو الجلال والإكرام وأتوب إليك. أستغفر الله الذي لا إله إلا هو الحي القيوم الرحمن الرحيم ذو الجلال والإكرام وأتوب إليك. أستغفر الله الذي لا إله إلا هو الحي القيوم الرحمن الرحيم ذو الجلال والإكرام وأتوب إليك. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. يا من أرجوه لكل خير وآمن سكته عند كل شر. يا من يؤتي الكثير بالخليل. يا من يؤتي من سهله. يا من يؤتي من لم يسأله ومن لم يعرف تهننا منه ورحمة. أعطني بمسألتي إياك جميع خير الدنيا وجميع خير الآخرة، واصرف عني بمسألتي إياك جميع شر الدنيا وشر الآخرة، فإنه غير منكوس ما أعطي. وزدني من فضلك يا كريم يا ذا الجلال والإكرام، يا ذا النعماء والجود، يا ذا المن والطول. حرم شيبتي على النار بحق محمد وآله الأطهار.
السلام عليك يا رسول الله. السلام عليك يا نبي الله. السلام عليك يا أمير المؤمنين. السلام عليك يا فاطمة الزهراء. السلام عليك يا حسن المجتبى. السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله الحسين مظلوم شهيد كربلاء. السلام عليك يا أبو الفضل العباس. السلام عليك يا أولاد الحسين وأصحاب الحسين. السلام عليك يا علي بن الحسين ومحمد بن علي وجعفر بن محمد وموسى بن جعفر وعلي بن موسى ومحمد بن علي وعلي بن محمد والحسن بن علي. السلام عليك يا صاحب الزمان. ألمان 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 من فتنة الزمان. السلام عليكم جميعا ورحمة الله وبركاته. اللهم صل.
أفلح من صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. We will now have Quran by Brother Mehdi Warji.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ألف لام را تلك آيات الكتاب وقرآن مبين. ربما يود الذين كفروا لو كانوا مسلمين. ذرهم يأكلوا ويتمتعوا ويلههم الأمل فسوف يعلمون وما أهلكنا من قرية إلا ولها كتاب معلوم ما تسبق من أمة أجلها وما يستأخرون وقالوا يا أيها الذي نزل عليه الذكر إنك لمجنون لو ما تعتينا بالملائكة إن كنت من الصادقين ما ننزل الملائكة إلا بالحق وما كانوا إذا منذرين إنا نحن نزلنا الذكر وإنا له لحافظون ولقد أرسلنا من قبلك في شيع الأولين وما يأتيهم من رسول إلا كانوا به يستهزئون كذلك نسلكه في قلوب المجرمين لا يؤمنون به وقد خلت سنة الأولين ولو فتحنا عليهم بابا من السماء فظلوا فيه يعرجون لقالوا إنما سكرت أبصارنا بل نحن قوم مسحورون ولقد جعلنا في السماء بروجا وزيناها للناذرين وحفظناها من كل شيطان رجيم إلا من استرق السمع فأتبعه شهاب مبين والأرض مددناها وألقينا فيها رواسي وأنبتنا فيها من كل شيء موزون وجعلنا لكم فيها معايش ومن لستم له برازقين وإن من شيء إلا عندنا خزائنه وما ننزله إلا بقدر معلوم وأرسلنا الرياح لواقح فأنزلنا من السماء ماء فأسقيناكم هو ما أنتم له بخازنين وإنا لنحن نحيي ونميت ونحن الوارثون ولقد علمنا المستقدمين منكم ولقد علمنا المستأخرين وإن ربك هو يحشرهم إنه حكيم عليم ولقد خلقنا الإنسان من صلصال من حمأ مسنون والجان خلقناه من قبل من نار السموم وإذ قال ربك للملائكة إني خالق بشرا من صلصال من حمأ مسنون فإذا سويته ونفخت فيه من روحي فقعوا له ساجدين فسجد الملائكة كلهم أجمعون إلا إبليس أبى أن يكون مع الساجدين قال يا إبليس ما لك ألا تكون مع الساجدين قال لم أكن لأسجد لبشر خلقته من صلصال من حمأ مسنون قال فاخرج منها فإنك رجيم وإن عليك اللعنة إلى يوم الدين قال رب فأنذرني إلى يوم يبعثون قال فإنك من المنذرين إلى يوم الوقت المعلوم قال رب بما أغويتني لأزينن لهم في الأرض ولأغوينهم أجمعين إلا عبادك منهم المخلصين قال هذا صراط علي مستقيم إن عبادي ليس لك عليهم سلطان إلا من اتبعك من الغاوين وإن جهنم لموعدهم أجمعين لها 7 أبواب لكل باب منهم جزء مقسوم إن المتقين في جنات وعيون ادخلوها بسلام آمنين ونزعنا ما في صدورهم من غل إخوانا على سور متقابلين لا يمسهم فيها نسب وما هم منها بمخرجين نبئ عبادي أني أنا الغفور الرحيم وأن عذابي هو العذاب العليم ونبئهم عن ضيف إبراهيم. صدق الله العلي العظيم.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Today I begin with unfortunately some sad news. Brother Suhail Hussain Ali Bhai Marhum has passed away today. For burial details, please listen to the answer phone after 11 a.m. on the Monday, the 28th of February. Al-Fatiha. Mu'mineen, please note there will be a Fatiha Khani after the Majlis, after the main program at 8:30 p.m. Today, Sunday, the 27th of February 2022, the eve of 26th of Rajab 1443, I begin by extending my condolences to, first of all, the Imam of our time, and then to you all on the wafat and the Shahadat of Hazrat Abu Talib alayhi salam. Allahumma Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. The program information for future programs is as follows. On the Monday, the 28th of February, it is Mi'raj Eve, and the program will start at 7:30 p.m. with Salat al-Maghribain and a Majlis by Sheikh Muhammad al-Hilli. On the Thursday, the 3rd of March, Jumu'at program at 7:30 p.m. with Salat al-Maghribain and a Majlis in Urdu by Maulana Musharraf Hussaini. For recitation requests, all requests for recitation of dua, qasida, munajat, marthia and matam, and any other recitation, please email your request to recite @hujjat.org. Please recite 5 times Amma Yujibu for all those who are unwell. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Amma yujibu al-mudtarra idha da'ahu wa yakshifu as-su'. أما يجيب المضطر إذا دعاه ويكشف السوء. 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 اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. We will now have Marthia. Please welcome Brother Suhail Rajab Ali with a salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad.
آخری رات سکینہ کی، آخری رات سکینہ کی، ہائے 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 میں خاک پر سو جاؤں گی، ہاں کہتی ہوں بابا، سینے پہ سلانے کو کہا کہتی ہوں بابا، کہتی ہوں کہ چہرہ ہی دکھا جائیے بابا، مرنے سے میرے پہلے ہی آ جائیے بابا، پہلو میں چھپانے کو کہا کہتی ہوں بابا، میں خواہ کہ پسو جاؤں گی ہاں کہتی ہوں بابا سینے پہ سلانے کو کہا کہتی ہوں بابا بچے تو بہت چھوٹے ہوا کرتے ہیں بابا ہر ایک مصیبت پہ گلا کرتے ہیں بابا میں ناز اٹھانے کو کہا کہتی ہوں بابا میں خاک پسو جاؤں گی ہاں کہتی ہوں بابا سینے پہ سلانے کو کہا کہتی ہوں بابا سہ لوں گی جو ہاتھوں کی لکیروں میں لکھا ہے زندہ کی اندھیروں کا گلا کس نے کیا ہے میں شمع جلانے کو کہا کہتی ہوں بابا میں خاک پسو جاؤں گی ہاں کہتی ہوں بابا سینے پہ سلانے کو کہا کہتی ہوں بابا ہائے بابا بابا میرے بچپن کا تقاضا تو نہیں تھا خوابوں میں کھلونے تھے جنازہ تو نہیں تھا گودی میں کھلانے کو کہا کہتی ہوں بابا میں خاک پسو جاؤں گی ہاں کہتی ہوں بابا سینے پہ سلانے کو کہا کہتی ہوں بابا بابا میرے زخموں کی دوا کون کرے گا اب جان سکینہ کو بھلا کون کہے گا پہلو میں چھپانے کو کہا کہتی ہوں بابا میں خاک پسو جاؤں گی ہاں کہتی ہوں بابا سینے پہ سلانے کو کہا کہتی ہوں بابا ہائے بابا مر جاؤں اگر بابا تیرا شام ہو آنا بیمار اکیلا ہے جنازہ کو اٹھانا گودی میں اٹھانے کو کہا کہتی ہوں بابا میں خاک پسو جاؤں گی ہاں کہتی ہوں بابا سینے پہ سلانے کو کہا کہتی ہوں بابا کہتی ہوں کہ چہرہ ہی دکھا جائیے بابا مرنے से मेरे पहले ही आ जाइए बाबा, पहलू में छुपाने को कहा कहती हूँ बाबा, मैं खाक पर सो जाऊंगी, हाँ कहती हूँ बाबा, सीने पे सुलाने को कहा कहती हूँ बाबा। अल-फातिहा।
For the main lecture, please welcome Shaykh Abbas Ismail with the salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Rahimallahu man qara al-Fatiha. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين خاتم النبيين شفيع المذنبين رحمة للعالمين مولانا وسيدنا أبي القاسم محمد. وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين لا سيما بقية الله في الأرض أرواحنا له الفداء ولعنة الله على أعدائهم أجمعين من الآن إلى قيام يوم الدين. أما بعد، فقد قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم اللهم صل على محمد أنا وعلي أبوا هذه الأمة. Respected elders, brothers, sisters, the hadith which I have recited for you, inshallah, I will come back to it by the end of tonight's lecture, where Rasulullah says, Ana wa Ali abawa hadhihi al-ummah. Me and Ali, Ali and I, are the two fathers of this nation. How does that tie in? What does that mean? Inshallah, we'll come back to that. At the moment, I want to touch upon what we discussed yesterday and then take it to the next level as promised. What did we discuss yesterday? Yesterday we discussed two things. That in the path of getting closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in the path of irfan-e-Islami, the path of spirituality, the path of what we call sayr and suluk, traveling towards Allah, making an effort to get closer to one's Lord. Two things come up again and again, in any way you look, in all the different advices of the ulama, in their books, in their writings. You cannot escape from these two things. They all say, muhasibeh nafs, one is self-accounting, and number two is muraqabeh. The first one, as I explained yesterday, means at the end of the day, you do a quick review of your day. You go through, what did I do? Since I woke up in the morning until now, what have I done? What did I say to people? How did I speak? Where did I go? Etc., etc. You go through the day, you do a quick account of your day. And then you say to yourself, you know what, this was good, alhamdulillah. I thank Allah. Oh Allah, allow me to do more of this kind of thing. And you see something bad, God forbid, and you say, astaghfirullah. Oh Allah, I'm so sorry. This was a lapse. I didn't mean to do this. I'm very sorry. Give me the tawfiq not to do this again and forgive me for this mistake. This is muhasibah nafs. And then we discussed muraqabah. Muraqabah is different. Muraqabah is that you are self-vigilant. So one was at the end of the day you do a self-accounting. That's quite easy. If I told you right now, end of every day, spend 5 minutes thinking about your day, it's not that difficult. But muraqabah is difficult. Why? Muraqabah is not just at the end of the day, but throughout the day. At all moments, from the moment you wake up till the time you sleep, you are constantly vigilant on yourself. Should I do this? Should I not? Should I think like this or should I not? Should I say this or should I not? Shall I go here or shouldn't I? At every point you are keeping an eye on yourself that should I do this or not? So it's very difficult, muraqabah. But we're going to go in today into more detail and seek advice from Allama Tabatabai rahmatullah alayh and what he says about muraqabah. Now there's a question. Why? Why do the ulama emphasize these things? What's the point? Why do we keep saying that these are so important? Why? There are two responses to this. Number one is what I would say is a standard response. Number one is the standard response. We can say this to anyone at any time. What is that response? It's not wrong, but both are correct. The first one is correct, the second one is correct. The first one says that, look, you want to journey towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You want to journey. And it's always put in this analogy of journey because it's a very good analogy. You want to journey towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In any journey, what do you need to do to make your journey go better? So first thing is that you'll make sure you only carry the essentials. You'll drop anything which is not essential, anything which is going to drag you down, anything which is going to slow you down, anything which is going to act as extra weight for you, you will drop it. So in our journey towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we have to drop all these extra things which are weighing us down. Masalan kya? Like for example, any attachment to worldly things. These should be dropped. If you really want to do this properly, if you really want to take it to a good level, dunyawi attachments should be dropped. Bad habits should be dropped. Bad characteristics should be dropped. All of these things should be dropped for one to become lighter, more able to traverse the path towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Even sometimes, mu'mineen, mu'minat, even sometimes bad memories should be dropped. Bad memories. Things which have happened to us. Things which people have done to us. Sometimes that acts as a baggage. Those need to be dropped. Now I ask you, what about our mistakes? The things that we have done to people. Should they be dropped or not? Someone is shaking their head, someone is saying no here. Most of them, most of the time they shouldn't be dropped. Because they can act as a good reminder for the self. However, sometimes even some of those need to be dropped. Because there are some extreme moments that a person has done a mistake in his life. Now he is so obsessed and so feeling guilty and so feeling down about that it is restricting his movement further. So even those things should be dropped. If it's really restricting you in this kind of way that you're not able to move forward, even that should be dropped. What we tend to do, Mu'minin, are you with me or are you over there? Please. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. It's not your fault, I get distracted. So, what happens is that when you are in a general situation, you shouldn't forget your mistakes. Remember them, because they will teach you a lesson. But sometimes when it becomes destructive, very much so, then you have to drop them. What we tend to do is we kind of do the opposite. We tend to remember the bad things people have done to us, and we forget all the good things that they've done to us. And we hold on to it. And it becomes something that is like a baggage, a negative thing, always eating away at you. This is why they say that when you forgive someone, if ever you are able to forgive, inshallah, when you forgive someone, it's more for you, if you know what I mean, than the other person. You release some of your negativity. You become like a lighter person. Have you ever had a nasty email or a nasty WhatsApp message, and you just hold and you say, you know what, hold and delete, chai lugyu. Don't you feel better afterwards? Aankni samajh na aave, magajaj ma na aave. You feel better. You think, you know what, it's gusyo, I'll get rid of it. So you feel better. So the first answer is this, that to traverse this path, you need to drop the dead weight, you need to drop the negative things in your life. You will not know what is negative in your life unless you do an account of yourself. How will you know that I have this habit and this practice and this one and that one? Unless you do an account. That's the only way you can know. Now the second response. The second response is also not wrong, but it's a different kind of response. It's a more what we would say irfani response. This is how the Urafa would look at it. Urafa, let me give an introduction first of all with salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. You feel something is wrong. You feel, I'm not happy. I'm not fulfilled. I'm not satisfied. Have I made the right choices in my life? Did I marry the right person? Did I bring my kids up properly? Did I choose the right career? Did I settle in the right country? Why is it I can't sleep at night? Why is it I'm always worried? Why do I have pain inside and I don't know what's causing it? Why am I always under stress? Why do I always feel I'm not achieving my potential? Why is my namaz not right? Why I'm into my 40s, 50s, I still can't pray namaz-e-shab? What's going on? Something's not right. So you have a feeling that something is not right. You have money, but you're not satisfied. You don't have money and you're not satisfied. You have health, you don't use it properly. You take it for granted. When you become ill, you start to panic. People die around you, you get very much affected. You can't come out of it. What's going on? What are people going through? What is this thing? So you'll come to a stage and you'll say, hang on a second, something is not right. Khusha Bahal. Congratulations to those people that arrive at this juncture where they say something is not right. That's a brilliant place to be. Something is not right. So there is something lacking. There is a deeper thing that I'm missing. What is that thing? So the Urafa say that whether you like it or you don't like it, whether you want to become closer to God or not, you have been designed in that way, that your inner being is telling you, I want to get closer to Allah. You've been hardwired that way. You don't have a choice in the matter, I'm sorry. Allah didn't come and ask you, can I make you this way? He made you this way. So what the Urafa say is that, well, whether you want to, you don't want to, you have to traverse this path. And if you don't traverse this path, you will be made to traverse this path. Is it clear? If you don't traverse this path, you will be made to traverse it. I'll ask you a quick question. Why did Allah, on the Day of Judgment, why doesn't He just make us come out of our graves in Jannat, in heaven? If I'm going to go to heaven, inshallah, with the wilayat of Amirul Mu'mineen, oh Allah, just make me go into heaven straight away. Why is it I have to get out of my qabr, I have to look around, I have to see everyone, I have to feel panic and fear, I have to see all this going on around me. I have to wipe off the soil and the dust from me. I have to go into groups. I have to meet the angels. The angels will tell me, go this way, go that way. I have to line up in a queue. I have to do this, that and the other. Why? Akhir, just raise me into heaven. Pati gay what? No. This is what we don't understand. It is a journey. You have to undertake the journey. So what the Urafa say is that whether you like it or not, you have to undertake this journey. This is the way you are made, and if you don't, you will always feel something is wrong. Something in my life doesn't make sense. Badu che panchen nathi. I have everything, I don't have sukoon. I have everything, I don't have tranquility. Something is missing. Janab Sa'di has a wonderful story on this. Janab Sa'di, you know Sa'di? Shall I give you a quick thing about Sa'di? Sa'di, one of the famous Persian poets. Janab Sa'di says, I was on a journey to Makkah and I was exhausted. We had traveled so long, we had walked for so many miles. I was totally tired and I could not even move anymore. I just sat down there and I said, you guys do whatever you want, you go ahead, I'm not moving, I need to rest. The caravan leader came and whispered something in my ear. He said, Haram dar pish ast, wa harami dar pas. Haram is in front of you, criminals are behind you. Agar rafti bordi, agar mandi mordi. If you go, you'll be successful. If you remain where you are, you'll be killed. He said those words created such a spirit in my soul that I understood a lot from those words. Not only for that Safar-e-Makkah, but for the whole of life. I understood. You can't stay still. It's not the way we are made. You will have to progress towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So, this is the answer to the first question, which is, why are we emphasizing this so much? Now, the Urafa, the mystics, the Gnostics, whatever you want to call it. Let's stay with the word Urafa. The Urafa look at this world differently. You know the way we are saying we don't have tranquility and sukoon and chain, we don't have these things? My teacher says something. It's a very big statement, but I'm going to say it because I trust him so much. My teacher says, the Arif in the world derives more pleasure and enjoyment than a non-Arif in heaven. Arif, the true Arif, not someone called Arif, I'm saying the true Arif, Gnostic, mystic, traveler towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he experiences more pleasure in the world than a non-Arif in heaven. He says, you're all missing out on life. We look at this bichara Arif and we say, oh my God, bicharo. He is grumpy, he's miserable, he doesn't go anywhere, he doesn't do anything, kai majanati jindagi ma. He's looking at us and thinking, oh my God, you guys haven't even seen what I've seen. The enjoyment which Allah wants us to have. You know, we have made an image of Islam, boring religion, no fun, just do your sabr in this life, you'll die, you'll get something better in the next life. It's not like that actually. Islam says we have prepared for you great, great enjoyment. It's like when, for example, you're walking, let's say you're walking along, okay, you're an adult, you're walking along, you see another group of adults, they're all sitting down, what are they doing? They're playing with dolls like kids. What would you think? You think, man, what are you doing? You're wasting your time like this, playing with dolls and cars like 3 and 4-year-olds. But for them, it's everything. For those people, they're like, wow, look, we've got such a nice life, we're enjoying. But the Arif looks at them and says, my God, what are you doing? You're missing out. This is pathetic. The Arif sees things, the Arif experiences things, and this is the most enjoyable things. My teacher says, Allah has prepared for us enjoyments according to his level of preparation. Not our level of preparation is, okay, nice food, nice holiday, watch something on TV, it was interesting. These are our enjoyments. Allah has prepared according to his level our enjoyments. But we tend to miss out. Because we don't take these things seriously, we dismiss them. Irfan ni wat kyan thi aivi pachi. These things kyan che Islam ma. Yeah, we do. Never mind, it's okay. So, this was the answer to the first question of why is it so important. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Second question, Azizane Muhtaram, is how to increase the level of awareness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So yesterday we said that muraqabah has 2 or 3 levels. One level, the first level was that Allah is always watching me. Now how to bring that in a consistent, constant manner, that I'm always in the presence of Allah and He is watching me. This requires 2 things. The first one is tafakkur, thinking, contemplation. To deeply take 5-10 minutes out of your busy day, turn off your phone, sit alone, put your head down and think. Think about Allah. Who is He? What kind of qualities does He have? Why did He create you? What are you here for? Where are you going next? And you know, the news is very good. Because inna lillah wa inna ilayhi raji'un. So if you think about it, a lot of the things has already been done for us. We are from Allah. So this is a very good start. And to Allah we will return. It's a very good end. We just have to worry about that middle portion, which is just a few days in this world. If you think about this equation, it's actually very easy. It's not hard. A few days, a few years in this world is all we have to worry about. We are from Him, to Him we will return. Our origin is good, our end is good. It's just this middle portion that we have to worry about. So the first thing is tafakkur. Thinking deeply upon Allah, yourself, the reason why you've been created. And number 2, convincing yourself that without this there's no other option. Either I remain as I am, okay? I have a Muslim name. I say Salam Alaikum and I say Khudafiz. I pray, generally. I will fast. I'll go on ziyarat trips and I'll do Hajj. And then whatever happens in between, inshallah, Allah is Ghafoor and Rahim. And I'll die. And then, we'll see Allah Malik. Okay, that's one way of living. But then those gaps in your life, I don't have sukoon, I don't have tranquility. These things will not get filled. These things will not get filled. Because we haven't done the hard work. Now, final part of the lecture, muraqabah. Let's go back to muraqabah with the salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. So muraqabah is that which is done throughout the day. Muhasabah is at the end of the day, few minutes. Muraqabah is throughout the day. You keep pulling yourself back from certain things. Okay? You keep controlling yourself from certain things. Now we go on to Allama Tabatabai's advice, Rahmatullah alayh. Can I request you, if you don't mind, a Surah Fatiha for Allama Tabatabai and all ulama, inshallah. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Malik yawmiddin. Iyaka na'budu wa iyaka nasta'in. Ihdina as-sirata al-mustaqim. Sirata alladhina an'amta alayhim ghayri al-maghdubi alayhim walad-dallin. Allama Tabatabai was one of those scholars who gave a lot of importance to muraqabah. So what happened was, during the end of his life, Allama began, towards the end of his life, to do a few things. Number 1, he stopped eating much. He would eat very, very little. They would bring food, the food would stay there untouched, and they would take it away again. Number 2, he would speak very, very little. He was not interested in any kind of, unbeneficial conversation. So he would speak very little. His students began to get worried. They wanted to hear him. So they said, you know what? He may not be speaking about everyday things, but he will speak about things to do with religion. So they said, Ayatollah Ibrahim Amini, marhum, may Allah bless him, bless his soul. He says, I know how to make Allama speak. I will ask him a question which he will have to answer. So he says, Agha, a question is, can you give us your advice how to progress in a spiritual manner and get close to Allah? Here Allama broke his silence and said, Muraqaba, Muraqaba, Muraqaba. 3 times. He could have said 3 different things. He could have said totally different things. But he said one thing 3 times. Look at the emphasis he's giving even at the end of his life. Muraqaba, Muraqaba, Muraqaba. So what happened was, during his lifetime, before he became very old and before he got ill and stuff, there is a letter, there is a series of letters of Allama Tabatabai in Farsi. This is one of them. If you permit me, I will quote some lines from that letter. A person writes to Allama Tabatabai and says, first of all he introduces, he says, Mahzar-e Mubarak-e Nukhbatul Falasifa. This is my letter into the blessed presence of the chosen one amongst the philosophers. So he's very polite, very, very polite. See, sometimes our approach also, it makes a difference. The way we approach Allah makes a difference. The way we approach Ahlul Bayt makes a difference. Here his approach is very polite. He begins all the niceties, all the formalities. Then he says, look, Kuta Sukhan, let me make it short. He said, I'm a 22-year-old man. I live in Qum. Akhundzadeh, I am the son of a scholar. He says, but I have a problem. He says, I think you're the only one who can solve this problem. And I've come to you with this hope. My problem is this. I feel I am drowned by my desires and whims and appetites. They seem to have taken a very strong hold over me and they have made me captive. They have stopped me moving towards Allah and moving towards the realization of my potential. My request from you is, tell me how I can gain control over my nafs to break this spell, and how I can bring success to me. And then he says something very interesting. He says, let me tell you one more thing. He says, oh Allama, I don't want preaching and I don't want advice. Please don't write back to me and say, be good and be pious. There are many people that can say this to me. I'm not looking for that. I'm looking for something practical that you can give me. And then he says something so beautiful, honestly. This person, either he was extremely sincere or he was extremely clever. You make the judgment. He says, and I ask you and I beg you as a father, if you find it appropriate, please reply to me. But if you don't find it appropriate, then I request you, quietly and privately tear my paper, put it in the bin and leave me to my state. Such a nice way. Either he's very clever or he's really genuine. Inshallah, we'll say he's genuine. And he's clever. Why not both? Allama, subhanallah. Allama replies. This is the main part of the discussion. What is the reply of Allama? Allama replies, after salam and whatever, he says, I have a number of things to tell you. He says, number 1 on the list. You want to break free of all this stuff that you're going through. You want your life to improve. You want to achieve your potential. You want to escape these dark clouds and enter into the light. He says, first thing is you have to have determination. The first thing is you have to have determination. I ask you a question now. Where do you get determination from? Can you buy it? Can you borrow it? Can someone feed it to you? Can you learn it in a book? Where does determination come from? Allama says, this comes from yourself. You have to bring it out of yourself. There's no other way. We are looking for the blue pill to make us successful. We are looking for different things and we go here, there, helter, skelter. Oh, nati. You have to bring it out of yourself. There's some things you have to do yourself. One of the scholars says, it's like asking a trainer, tell me, how do I get fit? He says, take a gym membership. Okay, then what? Okay, then go to the gym. Okay, then what? Then go on the treadmill. Okay, then what? Then set it to this number. Okay, then what? Then get on it. And then what? Then move your legs. He's like, I don't know how to do all this. So, what do you want from the trainer? Do you want him to actually come and say, okay, I'll hold your legs and I'll move them left, right, left, right. What is this? Some things you have to do. You have to bring it out of yourself, Allama says. One is determination. First thing, enawagar nahi thai, you can't. Because as soon as things get difficult, you'll give up. Many people give up many things, unfortunately. In this path, it doesn't work. He says, second, you must perform repentance. After forming a strong resolve, ask Allah for repentance. Tell Him, oh Allah, I'm sorry. I've done bad stuff. I'm sorry. Can you forgive me? I'll try my best not to do it again. Thirdly, you must be very careful about observing muhasaba and muraqaba. And then Allama gives the formula. He says, do it in this way. Every day in the morning when you wake up, make a serious intention that no matter what happens during the day, you will observe the pleasure of Allah. When you wake up, you say this to yourself, no matter what happens, yes, things will happen, silly people will cross your path, but no matter what happens, I will observe the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then he gives the cherry on the cake. This is really the crown in the jewel. This solves a lot of things. He says, ahead of every act, in front of every act, before every act that you wish to perform, ask yourself one question. Is this going to benefit my akhirat or not? Many confusions will go with this question, I'm telling you. Ask yourself and be honest with yourself. I'm going to do this or I'm going to say this. Is this going to benefit my akhirat or not? You will be surprised how many times you say to yourself, the answer is no. Therefore, I won't do it. Before speaking, before WhatsApping, before sharing something, before doing something, going somewhere, before wearing certain clothes that make you feel proud, before acting in a way that you put others down, before opening your mouth and speaking to your family members, you will say this to yourself. You'll say, nah, this is not going to benefit my akhirat. However, koi kaise? Someone can say, but these things are jais. No. This is the biggest lesson for us. In this path of irfan, we don't look at haram and halal in the way of fiqh. An arif doesn't look at halal and haram of fiqh. For example, someone might say, it's not haram to go and watch a football game. I'm just giving an example. It's not haram to go and watch a sports event. Is it haram in fiqh? Inshallah not. Yeah? But an arif will say, no, for me it's haram. I'm making it haram for myself because it's not adding to my akhirat. Many people in your minds right now, you're thinking, yeah, but these things are not haram. What's the big deal? Yes, that's fine. You want to live that life, that's perfectly fine. You're not doing anything wrong. But if you want to take the path of closeness to Allah, then it's a different equation. Then you don't look at things like, it's halal, fiqhi, so I'll do it. You'll say, it's not adding anything to my hereafter, so I won't do it. And this is adding to my hereafter, so I will do it. Hasanatul abrar, sayyiatul muqarrabeen. When you get to a certain stage, you'll say to yourself, the things that were good for normal people are sins for those seeking closeness to Allah. This is a big difference between these mindsets. So, fifth point was, ahead of every act you will ask yourself, does this benefit my hereafter or not? If the answer is yes, you'll do it. If the answer is no, then you will not do it. So you go to work. Let's go through a few examples. You go to work. Is that benefiting your hereafter or not? Well, big question. Big question. On one hand, let's look at it positively. Let's say to earn a halal income is good, it's an ibadat. To provide for your family, for men, is wajib. To live a life where you're not dependent upon others is a very good thing. So you say, inshallah, okay, my going to work is qurbatan ilallah, for my akhirat, so I'll go. Now, if your work is to do with haram things, lying and cheating and this and that, then you may answer no. Pastimes, hobbies, are they good or bad? Again, every individual has to assess. I can't assess for you, you probably can't assess for me. Is this right or wrong? Allama says, if it doesn't add to your akhirat, think carefully. If it adds to your akhirat, alhamdulillah, very good, go for it, full on. Number 6, Allama says, in a way that if it does not have a benefit for your hereafter, then you will not do it no matter what. It's hard. Muraqabah is hard. Muhasabah is quite easy. Muraqabah is hard. Then he says, you must try to have this condition until the time you go to bed. Obviously, in the beginning, you'll wake up at 6 or 7, whatever. You'll make the intention, I'm not going to do anything that goes against the pleasure of Allah. And then at 8 o'clock, you've already forgotten. So then you remind yourself. And then come 11 o'clock, again you've forgotten. Again you remind yourself. And that will happen again and again throughout the day, and probably for the next 3 or 4 days that's going to happen. The same as when we want to break any bad habit. We find ourselves being drawn to it again and again. We have to remind ourselves. And then he says, this is one of the final points. He says, keep this up on a daily basis. Mu'mineen, Muraqabah doesn't have a holiday. You don't get a day off on Sundays. Ashura is not a day off. Eid ul-Fitr is not a day off. No days are days off. You travel, you do it. You stay home, you do it. If it's your daughter's wedding, you do it. If it's your son's graduation, you do it. You do it all the time because there's no other way. This is what is necessary. And then he says that I offer you one more piece of advice with salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. He says, one more thing, my young questioner. He says, before you sleep, recite the musabbihat surahs. We have 5 musabbihat surahs. What is musabbihat? Musabbihat are those surahs which begin with sabbaha or yusabbihu. He says, before sleeping, recite the 5 musabbihat surahs. They are Hadith, Hashr, Jummah, Saf, Taghabun. Inshallah, you got good memories, inshallah, or you can, listen online again. Hadith, Hashr, Jummah, Saf, Taghabun. And then some people, they add on one more, which is Sabbihisma Rabbikal A'la, Surah A'la. There's not total consensus about that 6th one. Some people say, well, add it on anyway because it's short and quite easy to do. And some people say, well, you can add it if you want, but the 5 musabbihat are these ones. He says, recite these. And if you don't have time even for these, but these don't take long, trust me. But he says, okay, even if you don't have time for these, then at least Suratul Hashr. But I'm sure Mu'mineen can do all 5. And then he says, and then the ulama say, they say, why these surahs? Why musabbihat? You know, tasbih is very powerful. To say Subhanallah is very powerful. It is the food and the zikr of the angels. Tasbih is a heavenly thing. So what the ulama say is that when you recite these surahs, don't be surprised. Now I'm not saying this to raise your hopes or anything, but this is what they say. They say don't be surprised if your sleep becomes a very special sleep. That you begin to see things in your dreams. You begin to experience spirituality in your sleep. You know, a mu'min sometimes will have more benefit in the night when he's asleep than he does in the day. So these were the musabbihat. Then Allama says, after 20 days of doing this, write back to me and let me know your situation. So it shows that Allama knew that even after 20 days there's going to be a difference. Inshallah, let's pray for tawfiq, that Allah gives us tawfiq to do this kind of thing, to preserve our muraqabah in this way. It's not easy in the beginning, but inshallah it can become a good habit. Mu'mineen, mu'minat, Janabe Abu Talib alayhi salatu wassalam. Rasulullah says, Ana wa Ali abawa hadhil ummah. I and Ali are the fathers of this nation. How beautiful this hadith is. They are the fathers of this. That means they're our spiritual fathers and we are their spiritual children. So, what does a parent do? He takes care of his children. Amirul Mu'mineen, you're taking care of us. Amirul Mu'mineen, you're providing for us. You're taking care of us. Rasulullah, you are taking care of us. But I ask you a question. Who was their father? If they are the fathers of this nation, who was their father? Who raised them? Alam yajidka yatiman fa'awa. Did we not find you an orphan? We took care of you. We provided for you. We made you self-sufficient. How? Through Janabe Abu Talib. Muhsin Islam, Janabe Abu Talib. The one who has done great service to Islam. This is Janabe Abu Talib. He nurtured them. He raised them. And isn't it amazing that even biologically they are from different parents, but somehow they ended up spending the most time with the same pair of parents. When Janab Abu Talib passes away, Rasulullah says he was like my father. When Janab Fatima bint Asad passes away, oh my God, if you read the history, Rasulullah himself goes to the grave and he lies down in the grave of Janab Fatima bint Asad. And he says, she was like my mother. Really, they take care of us. Can I share with you one or two anecdotes, inshallah? Either they are taking care of us in this world or the hereafter, or most likely in both worlds they are taking care of us. Let me tell you first story about Sheikh Ansari. Sheikh Murtaza Ansari of Najaf. Sheikh Ansari was a great scholar. Great scholar. Groundbreaking scholar. Took our religious sciences to a next level. One day his student narrates, he says, I used to go to the classes of Sheikh Ansari and I didn't understand anything. It was too advanced. I couldn't grasp the material that Sheikh was telling me. So I went to the haram of Amir al-Mu'mineen. I said, Ya Amir al-Mu'mineen, help me. Remember, they are our fathers, yeah? They are our fathers. He said, Amir al-Mu'mineen, help me. I can't understand the lessons of Sheikh Ansari, but I don't want to lose this class. He says, that night in my dream, Amirul Mu'mineen came. And he said, let me tell you something. And he whispered in my ear, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. He says, the next day when I woke up and I started to go back to the classes of Sheikh Ansari, I could understand everything. I could grasp all the material. I became one of the best students of the class. It came to a point where Sheikh Ansari himself would tell me, half of this class you take. And then one day I went to Sheikh Ansari at the end of the class to exchange a few words, and he says, come here. And he whispered in my ear. He said, the man who whispered in your ear, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, he whispered in my ear the whole of Suratul Fatiha. They take care of us. They take care of us. Ibrahim Amini, last thing, and then we go to Masaib. Not Ibrahim Amini. Abdul Hussain Amini, Allama Amini. Allama Amini was that person. He spent 35 years of his life compiling and writing the book Al-Ghadir, which proves the wilayat of Amirul Mu'mineen based on the event of Ghadir from non-Shia sources. 35 years. When he passed away, his son saw him in a dream. What does the son see? He sees that it's the Akhirat, Jannat is there, and then there's the pool of Kawthar. Hawz-e Kawthar is there, and Amirul Mu'mineen is standing there. And there's a whole line of ulama waiting to go to the pool of Kawthar to be given the last drink and then enter heaven. Amirul Mu'mineen is giving everyone in a glass. From riwayat we have that Amirul Mu'mineen will give you in a glass a drink of Kawthar. Every alim is taking Kawthar from the glass, from the glass, from the glass. When it came to Allama Amini's turn, Amirul Mu'mineen, you know what he does? He puts down the glass, he rolls up his sleeves, he puts his own hands into Kawthar and says, drink from my hands. तुमने दुनिया में मेरा नाम रोशन किया, आखिरत में मैं तुम्हारा चेहरा रोशन करूंगा. You did something for me in this world, I will do something for you. As long as Janab Abu Talib was there, no one had the guts to do anything to Rasulullah. They could not touch Rasulullah. Janab Abu Talib passed away, and Rasulullah was subjected to so many things. He had to leave Medina, he had to leave Makkah and go to Medina. He tells Amirul Mu'mineen, he says, "Oh Ali, I'm leaving you in my place, but I want you to do two things and then join me in Medina. First thing is that I want you to return all the amanat and all the trusts which I had taken from people, which they had given to me for safekeeping. You go and you return all of them to all the people. Secondly, I want you to bring a number of people with you to Medina." Who, Rasulullah? Rasulullah says, number one, Fatima bint Zubair. Number two, your own mother, Fatima bint Asad. And number three, my daughter, Fatima az-Zahra. You bring these three with you safe and sound to Medina. Amir al-Mu'min says, Chashm, I will do this, no problem. He returns all the trusts and the amanats. Then he goes to Medina. On the way to Medina with these dignified ladies in his company, the Quraysh find out. They send forces. They say, stop these people. They are not going to go. Whatever you do, the main person to kidnap is Fatima, the daughter of Rasulullah. Because if we capture her and kidnap her, we bring her back to Makkah, he will be forced, we will use her as a ransom, he'll be forced to come back to Makkah. Amirul Mu'mineen takes out his sword and fights. And he receives many blows and many wounds. And he's bleeding, but he manages to repel all of them. Amirul Mu'mineen then takes the reins of the horse of Bibi Fatima. And Amirul Mu'mineen walks from Makkah to Medina. When he meets Rasulullah, he says, Ya Rasulullah, here is your amanat, your daughter is delivered to you. Just the way you left her in Makkah, I have delivered her to you in Medina. After the Shahadat of Bibi Fatima, Amirul Mu'mineen again delivers the amanat back to Rasulullah. But this time he doesn't say these words. This time he says to Rasulullah, he says, Ya Rasulullah, this is your daughter. She's not the same anymore. The way you left her with me, I could not return her to you like that. Ya Rasulullah, she has her ribs broken. Ya Rasulullah, they took away fadak from her. Ya Rasulullah, they were beating her in the streets. Ya Rasulullah, this is your daughter. I have brought her back, but she is not the same Fatima. She may be young, but she looks old. She was healthy. Now look at her. Ya Rasulullah, we give you our condolences. Ya Amir al-Mu'mineen, we give you our condolences on the wafat of Janab Abu Talib alayhi salam, Matam Hussain.
پہلو بھی شکستہ ہے تربت بھی شکستہ ہے 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 کیا حال یہ امت نے زہرا کا بنایا ہے پہلو بھی شکستہ ہے تربت بھی شکستہ 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 ہے خاتون کوئی غم سے یوں چور نہیں دیکھی ایسی کوئی دنیا میں مستور نہیں دیکھی 18 برس میں ہی لگتی جو ضعیفہ ہے پہلو بھی شکستہ ہے تربت بھی شکستہ ہے پہلو بھی شکستہ ہے تربت بھی شکستہ ہے پہلو بھی شکستہ ہے تربت بھی شکستہ ہے در دربار میں ظالم نے کی ایسی پذیرائی، کس طرح سے تو بی بی پھر لوٹ کے گھر آئی، بالوں کی سفیدی نے سب حال سنایا ہے، پہلو بھی شکستہ ہے، تربت بھی شکستہ ہے، پہلو بھی شکستہ ہے، تربت بھی شکستہ ہے، پہلو بھی شکستہ ہے، تربت بھی شکستہ ہے، تو روتی رہی گھر میں حیدر سے بھی چھپ چھپ کے، عصمت کی طرح دکھ بھی پردے میں رہے تیرے، کچھ درد تیرے بی بی بس جانتی فضا ہے، پہلو بھی شکستہ ہے، تربت بھی شکستہ ہے، پہلو بھی شکستہ ہے، تربت بھی شکستہ ہے، پہلو بھی شکستہ ہے، تربت بھی شکستہ ہے، دو ایسے جنازے ہیں تاریخ میں جو اٹھے، بس گئے کہ ہی لوگوں نے دونوں کو دیے کاندھے، ایک فاطمہ زہرا ہے، ایک والی سکینہ ہے، پہلو بھی شکستہ ہے، تربت بھی شکستہ ہے، پہلو بھی شکستہ ہے، تربت بھی شکستہ ہے، پہلو بھی شکستہ ہے، تربت بھی شکستہ ہے، دو ایسے جنازے ہیں تاریخ میں جو اٹھے، بس گئے کہ ہی لوگوں نے دونوں کو دیے کاندھے، ایک فاطمہ زہرا ہے، ایک والی سکینہ ہے، پہلو بھی شکستہ ہے، تربت بھی شکستہ ہے، پہلو بھی شکستہ ہے، تربت بھی شکستہ ہے، پہلو بھی شکستہ ہے، تربت بھی شکستہ ہے، مرہم تیرے زخموں کا بی بی نہ ملا اب تک، اولاد امیہ کی باقی ہے جفا اب تک، رونے پہ بھی پہرا تھا، غربت پہ بھی پہرا ہے، پہلو بھی شکستہ ہے، غربت بھی شکستہ ہے، پہلو بھی شکستہ ہے، تربت بھی شکستہ ہے، پہلو بھی شکستہ ہے، تربت بھی شکستہ ہے، مہدی سے کوئی پوچھے کیا اس پہ گزرتی ہے، آواز بقیہ سے جب رونے کی آتی ہے، آنکھوں سے لہو رو کر وہ بھی یہی کہتا ہے، پہلو بھی شکستہ ہے، تربت بھی شکستہ ہے، پہلو بھی شکستہ ہے، تربت بھی شکستہ ہے، پہلو بھی شکستہ ہے، تربت بھی شکستہ ہے، یا حسین 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 Hussein, Ya 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 Hussein. Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. السلام عليك يا سيد البطحاء وابن رئيسها. السلام عليك يا وارث الكعبة بعد تأسسها. السلام عليك يا كافل رسول الله. السلام عليك يا حافظ دين الله. السلام عليك يا عم المصطفى صلى الله عليه وآله. السلام عليك يا والد الأئمة الهدى. السلام عليك يا من رزق ولدا هو خير مولود وإمام الأمة وأبو الأئمة، وهو قسيم الجنة والنار، ونعمة الله على الأبرار ونقمة الله على الفجار. السلام عليك وعليهم ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام عليك يا رسول الله. السلام عليك يا خديجة الكبرى. السلام عليك يا فاطمة الزهراء سيدتي نساء العالمين. السلام عليك يا علي المرتضى. السلام عليك يا حسن المجتبى. السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله الحسين. السلام عليك يا زينب الكبرى. السلام عليك يا أبا الفضل العباس بن أمير المؤمنين. السلام عليك والشهداء كربلاء. السلام عليك يا تسعة المعصومين من ذريتك، علي بن الحسين ومحمد بن علي وجعفر بن محمد وموسى بن جعفر وعلي بن موسى ومحمد بن علي وعلي بن محمد والحسن بن علي والحجة بن الحسن، عجل الله تعالى فرجه وسهل الله مخرجه وزهورك. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم كن لوليك الحجة بن الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا وذليلا وعينا حتى تسكنه أرزك توعا وتمتعه فيها طويلا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين.
Mu'mineen, please be seated for Tabarrok. Ahsant.
Muhammad Ali Muhammad Salawat. Brothers, rugby is not available for us, so please move your cars from the rugby. If you are staying for Fatiha Khani, please make sure you bring your cars in. Thank you.